In my opinion, if you were to sit next to me on an airplane and you were LDS, what I would talk to you about would be very different from what I talk to you about here on the show. This is for a broad-based audience to hear a bunch of facts and decide to research them yourself. But if I was talking with a person next to me on a plane, I would talk about being born again. Have you been born again? I know you're LDS, let's just leave that alone, but have you been born again? And then they usually talk about whether they have or haven't, and then you can kind of understand what it means to be born again with them. However, one-on-one, I do have an exception to that, and that is with missionaries. Missionaries are out there to get you to join their church. Full-time, 2 years, this is what they do. And they will say almost anything to get you to do it. And we have plenty of emails with evidence of this. So with missionaries, it's no holds bar. I would use anything that you hear on the show, anything you see at utlm.org, and plant seeds in those missionaries' heads to go and research their religion. I like to talk to missionaries when I'm driving my car and I see them riding their bike. I like to kind of pull over at a light and roll my window down and say, "Elders, how you doing?" And they're, all friendly and nice. "Doing good, how are you?" "Doing well, Elder." "Hey, how many wives Joseph Smith have?" "One." "No, Elder, guess again." "How many do you think?" "He had one, we know it." "No, he had more, Elder." "What would you think?" "How many do you think Emma knew about, Elder?" "Huh? How many?" Would you believe me if I said he had 31 wives that Emma didn't know about? Why would the guy who founded your church, Elder, have 31 wives that his own wife didn't know about? What would you think of me or your bishop who had wives that his wife didn't know about? And what would you think if 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them were teenagers? What would you think if some of those teenagers lived in his house with him in this trusted relationship of helping the family, and suddenly Joseph married him secretly? Elder? Throw down on those missionaries. There's all kinds of information you can get. Question them, corner them. You can also talk to them about grace and works. They have this admixture of grace and works. We're saved by grace after all that we can do. If you're saved by grace, of course you have to do something. They just cannot understand grace. And so I would go to the scripture where it talks about if you're saved by grace, it cannot be of works. And if you're saved by works, it is not of grace. Those two are mutually exclusive. And so I would talk to them either about, one, being born again. That's the soft approach that you take with them to try to consider that. 2, I would talk to them about the grace and works thing. And 3, I would just throw down on them and get them to really seriously go home and say, "I don't know if anything's true I've ever been taught before." And then you can help shake it up. Now, you LDS are going to get mad at me for that, but we do it out of love. We have